Hello, my name is Daniel James, and this is Data Purge, my game design master's final project. Data Purge is an isometric projectile-based RPG with a dystopian sci-fi setting and a focus on procedural generation. Opening the game takes the player to a main menu, where camera effects, static, and a procedural lighting system create a tense but interesting atmosphere. From here, you can click on Guide to take you to the Guide menu. The Guide menu provides all the key information needed to play the game. From here, you can click on the main menu button to return there. Back in the main menu, you can click the Quit button to close the game or the New Game button to start a playthrough. Upon starting a playthrough, the player is introduced to the game by OV, a happy sounding character voiced by an AI. The player spawns randomly in one of 10 level layouts. This level is also given one of 4 rotations and one of 2 objectives when spawned. Now in the game, the player can be directed to move to any ground location by left clicking on it. The camera can be zoomed in and out with the mouse wheel. The player can also activate each of their character's 5 abilities by pressing the corresponding buttons. These ability buttons are right click on the mouse and 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the keyboard. Activating an ability fires one or more projectiles towards the mouse cursor after a brief casting delay. During this delay, the range and direction of the ability is shown by an aim laser. Using an ability will cause it to go on cooldown, turning its button grey and preventing it from being used again until the cooldown period is finished, shown by the icon becoming fully white once again. Hovering over the ability buttons with the mouse reveals a tooltip which provides detailed information to the player about the ability. All of the details of these abilities are procedurally generated, providing the player a different starting toolkit every time. For more information on their character, the player can press C on their keyboard to open or close their character page. Pressing Escape will also close the character page if it is open. Otherwise, it will pause the game, opening the Pause menu, from which the player can resume, restart the playthrough, or return to the main menu. Pressing Escape again while in this menu will also resume the game. The first level objective is Annihilation, which requires the player to destroy all enemies within the level. The other is Assassination, requiring them to only destroy a single powerful boss enemy. To destroy enemies, the player must fire abilities at them to deal damage until their health reaches 0. Meanwhile, the player needs to avoid being hit by the enemy's abilities. One extra tool for this is the Warp ability, which allows the player to teleport a short distance by pressing the spacebar. This ability is given to all characters, but it has a short range and a long cooldown, so must be used tactically. If the player is hit by an enemy, they will take damage, reducing their health. Reaching 0 health destroys the player character, ending the playthrough and taking the player to the game over screen. From here, they can start a new playthrough, return to the main menu, or close the game. Damage is not the only effect abilities have. Some abilities will heal the user and any of their allies it collides with. Others reduce the stats of opponents or increase the stats of allies. Rarer abilities also have special properties, such as piercing through objects, returning to their user at the end of their range, homing in on potential targets, spawning areas which apply weaker versions of their effects to multiple targets, or even firing up to 4 additional projectiles. Thanks to the ability generation system, all of these effects could occur on one ability, but that would be highly unlikely. Defeating an enemy grants the player experience, shown in the blue bar. Fill in this experience bar, cause the player character to level up, granting them a permanent boost to a random stat, resetting the experience to 0 and increasing their XP needed to level up again by 100. Defeated enemies also drop loot. This comes in 2 varieties. Red health cores can be clicked if the player character is missing any health, consuming the core to heal them for up to 25% of their maximum health. Yellow ability cores can instead be left clicked to add them to your inventory. The player can press the I key to open and close their inventory to take a look at any abilities they have picked up. Escape can also be used to close the inventory. The inventory contains 20 slots. If a slot is empty, it will be grey. If it contains an ability, it will be white. Abilities in the inventory can be hovered over, just like equipped abilities, to show a tooltip explaining them. Left-clicking on an inventory slot or equipped ability slot, and then another will swap their contents. This means that new procedurally generated abilities looted from enemies can be equipped to the player character, replacing their starting abilities. If an ability is no longer needed, you can click on it, and then click on the bin button to destroy it in exchange for a small amount of XP. Make sure to do this every now and again, since if the inventory is full, no new abilities can be picked up. With their suite of interesting new abilities equipped, the player can carry on through the level, defeating enemies until their objective is complete. Completing a level objective grants XP and a congratulatory message from OV. It also causes 4 new levels to spawn, one on each of the current level's 4 sides. Simply pick which new level you fancy tackling and head right in. From this point on, you can continue defeating enemies, completing objectives, leveling up, and finding stronger abilities as much as you like in this infinitely expanding maze. There is a chance, however, that completing a level will cause you to be contacted by a hacker. This hacker will provide you with information on the dark truth of the game's setting. Over the course of 5 hacker encounters, you are informed that you are a prisoner trapped in a simulation by OV, who is actually an evil AI called Overlord. Overlord is keeping you and many others captive to study your behaviours in combat so it can better learn to fight against humans, allowing it to keep control of the outside world. After all hack scenes have been heard, the player is given a hack button on the screen, which when clicked takes them to the final boss level where they can take on Overlord. Defeating this boss opens a portal to the real world, allowing the player to walk through it and complete the game. It also opens a second portal, however. Walking through this portal takes the player back into the game, allowing them to keep on playing forever if they choose to, although taking too long to leave the game does cause the hacker to give you a serious talking to.